Officially live on YouTube as well. Alright. So, how's everything going? I'm talking to myself. We are going to be doing some Duskmourn quick draft. Because that seems fun. And if I do very well, then I might do a premiere draft in another format. But I also might not. I also might just run a bunch of Duskmourn drafts. We will see. Alright. Without any further ado, let's get started. Alright. So we have our rare is kind of low impact for a rare. I guess a 2-mana, like, eventually 3/3 flying lifelink isn't awful, but it's not exciting. So this one, I remember an opponent played this against me, and it was fine, but also not super exciting. Alright, that is pretty much just a 2/2. We have reanimation plus life gain. We have just like a 2/2 with some extra text. A 2/1 that can also be a mana rock sometimes. A big shark. And that's a cantrip. Discard spells can be fine in draft, because a lot of times your opponent will have like one good card that their entire plan revolves around, but also a lot of the time that isn't the case. So this is just filtering or manifest dread. Well, I guess we'll take the rare, because the rest of the pack seems kind of not much better, so we may as well take a rare if there isn't anything that stands out. Rite of the Moth is 4 mana, reanimate something, and then 6 mana, reanimate a second thing. Alright, so I could do like white-black reanimator. That is an option. I could just take a bear trap and stay flexible. Let's see, what is this? That is kind of a bad counterspell. So that's a combat trick. I think we just take a bear trap. I mean, bear traps are always fine. You're never going to lose because you picked a bear trap. Alright, and then that's not exciting. That's not super exciting. That's not exciting, but it is fine. 3 mana, 3/3. Alright, so I could do like survivors. I could do green-white survivors. That is an option. This seems pretty good. Like, it's going to be a 4 mana 4/3. That is, sometimes Manifest Dread is going to get me something even better, and then it's just like a mediocre equipment. Okay, this is just like removal for everything. That just works. I think we just take removal for everything that just works. That seems pretty good. Alright, so here we have a big black-white guy, or a reanimation spell, or kind of a bad equipment, but fine equipment. let's take the big black-white guy. I'm going to say, like, we're going black-white. That's the plan. Alright, this card is just good. Like 3 mana, draw 2. Not exciting, but more than good enough, I think. Okay, that is removal. Murder is removal. I feel like Murder is just a good card in general. Valgloss Faithful is sweet. Yeah, so we're going black-white Reanimator, so we do need Reanimator spells. This is not horribly exciting, but I think our opponent bodied with me with this once. Or we could do this, which is just good value. Let's take the card that is just good value. And we'll take a lifelinky guy. Oh, and we did get our reanimation flashback spell back, so that's very cool. So this could tutor our big thing into the graveyard. So, and it's like a 3/1, which is fine. Alright, I mean, I guess this is the only on-color one. It's not exciting. Another Cynical Loner, not horrible. And an island, definitely going in the sideboard. Alright, so here we have that, which is not very... I mean, it's fine, I guess. But probably not worth abandoning all this black-white stuff that I have. So we have a removal spell that can kind of pick what we destroy with it. A survivor, well, not quite survivor, but helps with survivors. Or a 4-mana 3/3 or 4/4. I think I just like having lots of removal in my deck. It seems pretty good. And I think I just like having lots of removal in my deck. Alright, so now we have this, which is a 4-mana pair of 2/2s. This can give stuff menace. That surveils. This is a big-ish thing with menace and death touch. So I think just like a 3-mana 3/2 flash that can surveil is probably better. Alright, so here we have get a creature back from our graveyard for a mana and make some 2/2s over time. Or we could have a big thing. I think I like that. This is not really what I want to be doing. That's fine. And I guess just instant speed removal is pretty good. Alright, Resurrected Cultist is absolutely what I want to be doing. Not sure how we're going to get Delirium, but I'm sure I can figure it out. Yeah, actually, hang on. We have Bear Trap, which is an artifact. We have a bunch of creatures. We have some enchantments. We have instants. We have sorceries. We have probably some, like, a Surveil card. So Fear of Immobility is pretty good tempo. Like, just stun their blocker and attack with other stuff. Another Rite of the Moth seems pretty good. And just a death touch thing. I would love to be trading off and getting stuff back. Alright, so now it's between a second Bear Trap and Shepherding Spheres. I have a fair amount of removal. I think I want to just be like winning the game at this point. Just need to have a big chunky top end to be reanimating. And we now have a big chunky top end to be reanimating. And we got good... Alright, we got playable cards for all of our last picks, so that's great. Demonic Council. Search your library for a demon card. Do I have demons? That's a spirit, that's a nightmare. That's a cleric, that's a vampire, that's an assassin. Alright, the answer is no, we don't have demons. That could be just a generic tutor. Or we could take Exercise, which is going to kill their big things. Killing their big things seems pretty good. Or we could get, this, which is not exciting. I think killing their big things is going to be better. Alright, what is this? Delirium, choose one or more. Alright, so I'm evaluating this as like basically 4 mana Mind Rot, and then sometimes it'll do more stuff, which seems fine but not exciting. I think... Alright, what is this? Alright, so I guess this is an artifact that's going to end up in the bin. I have some Delirium stuff. Let me actually check. I have 2 instants, 3 sorceries, 1 artifact, 10 enchantments, 16 creatures. So I definitely need more types. And I think just sorcery would be better. Alright, this is Clue. It's better than an average Clue, but still is just a Clue. That would be an artifact, which could matter, but it's not a very good card, is it? I think another Fanatic of the Harrowing would be better than either of those. Alright, we could get a 3rd Rite of the Moth, and just all of our stuff comes back all of the times. Or we could get another Derelict Attic, which seems better. We already have 2 Rite of the Moths. Alright, this pack is awful for me. Alright, here we have a 3 mana 3/2 that makes combat annoying. Or Final Vengeance, which is a 1 mana removal spell. I think making combat annoying for them is pretty good. Fills out the middle of the curve as well. Okay, Surveil is good because it can get random stuff into the bin. I guess we take the rat. Alright. This is the only on-color card. I think Keys to the House as an extra artifact will make Delirium a bit easier, and I do have a fair number of rooms. Alright, this is just random. This is just random. This is just random. And, alright. It looks like blue-red was like super open there. Alright, so what does this look like? I have 4 sorceries, 2 instants. So my Delirium would almost certainly be creature, land, enchantment, and then one of these 3 things. Which is not horribly impossible. In terms of curve, we do have a lot of top end. It's a bit deceptive because, like, that swamp cycles. This is actually a 3-drop and a 4-drop. That plane cycles. Alright, so this card isn't very good, so I can get rid of that easily. Valgavoth's Faithful is a reanimation spell and a 1-drop. I guess, like, this... I mean, it's probably better than your average 2-2, right? It's probably better than Balemerc Leech. Cynical Loner is kind of big because it can tutor stuff into the graveyard, which would be useful because I have a fair amount of reanimation. The Rat is not exciting. I'm going to cut that. Popular Egotist is fine, but is it worth it? Not sure. Creatures are the things that I want to be cutting. That card is probably just fine. I'm not excited about it. Alright. What are my Delirium cards? I don't have many, right? I have like 2. Murder. Alright, so I have 1 Resurrected Cultist, 1 Let's Play a Game. Alright, I don't think that it's worth having those in there and constantly stumbling over Delirium, so I'm going to cut them and just not worry about it. And I think that means I cut Key to the House as well. Alright, so if I'm not doing Delirium, then what does my curve look like? Pretty good. Again, this looks much worse than it is. A lot of those are deceptive. I could still probably cut like 1 thing. I don't know. I mean, I really want to have my reanimation targets. I think this is sort of mediocre. I'll cut it. Making cuts is hard. I am going to cut some top end. I am going to cut the Fear of the Dark. I think Fear of Immobility can stay because that can push lethal. And Shroud Stomper is like the big thing that I want to be bringing back, so that obviously stays. So I guess I can cut Trapped. How much removal spells do I have? I have Bear Trap, I have Exercise, I have Sporogenic Infection, Trapped in the Screen, Murder, and Seized from Slumber. I think I can cut 1 removal spell. And maybe Exercise... No, I mean, that has to be, like... If they don't have a creature with power 4 or greater, then I'm also happy with that. Like, if that card is blank, it's good for me, so I'm fine with that. This is like get rid of 1 thing and make another thing super easy to get rid of, so I like keeping that. So if I cut these, I don't really have like a 3-drop creature. So I think I need to keep that. Alright, maybe I don't need all of these Derelict Addicts. Maybe I can cut down to 1 of them, and that'll be fine. Alright, let's try this. Let's try this. see if we can do some reanimating. Let's see if we can do some reanimation. Alright, we have all black mana and pretty much all white spells, so we're just going to have to mulligan that. This hand is fine. I have all the removal ever. I think I cut one removal spell and keep the rest of them. So I do have a creature with this hand, so I can hold up Murderer or the Amalgam. I'm just going to flash in my Bear Trap immediately. Alright, so we drew Shroud Stomper. We're going to have to get that in the graveyard somehow. Opponent is green-white, so they're going to be doing Survivor stuff. Alright, so I can hold up Amalgam plus Murder plus Bear Trap. Alright. Yeah, that's fine. Whatever. You can spend your 2 mana to get rid of my 1 mana spell. And I'm going to flash into 3/2. Alright, so I have unfortunately missed a land drop, which is very bad. But I found it, so we're obviously going to keep that on top. And go from here. We have 6 power in play, which is not nothing. 6 power plus a murder. Do I just murder this to push damage? Yeah, so I think murdering this slows them down a lot. They're missing land drops. I'm attacking for 6. Like, seems good. So I could keep that and work up to Shroud Stomper, but no, I think enough of my top end is 5 mana that just hitting the 5th land is important. Alright, search my library for a card. I guess this is true. So I can put... I have the Rite of the Moth in hand, so I'm just going to grab the biggest guy, which is going to be the Spectral Snatcher. And so next turn I can reanimate that, which seems pretty cool. Alright. They're playing 3 color. That's ambitious. 3 color is very ambitious of them. I guess they had the Zealot, so it's not like completely crazy. Alright, I drew a second Rite of the Moth. Sure, I'm just going to attack with my guys. Alright, I have 2 Rite of the Moths. I'm going to have 2 big guys in the graveyard. And I think give me the 6/5. 6/5, ward, discard a card. Seems pretty good for me. So I'm attacking them down to 1 if they do nothing. Alright, they do have the ability to make me sacrifice that. Alright, I'm going to keep that on top, because if this game goes long, I'm going to need to draw cards to dig myself out of this predicament. And I'm just going to cast another Rite of the Moth. So I have lethal on board if they have no interaction. And if they do have interaction, I can cycle this, draw 2 cards, and be good to grind with double Rite of the Moth. Alright. They have 2 blockers, which is obviously good for them. So I'm going to swamp cycle this, grab a swamp. Alright, so I can't do that on the other half, so I'm just going to attack with both. I have 2 Rite of the Moths in the graveyard. I do not need more reanimation. So yeah, they're going to trade there. And go to 3. Alright, that was a mistake. They could have pointed that at my face. But they didn't. I'm just going to draw me some cards. So I'm going to be going up to 6, so these Rite of the Moths are now going to be online. And I do have a good target in there. And this has to find them a removal spell, or they just die to my 4/5. I guess removal spell or reach creature or something. Oh, that gains them life? Alright, that gains them life. So they're at 6. I can deal 5 to them by unlocking the Widow's Walk. They are sort of getting themselves out of this. But probably not enough. Like, I have so much grindy potential in this deck. Actually, this Shroud Stomper reanimation next turn will almost certainly kill them. Fnatic of the Harrowing doing exactly what I wanted it to do. Just get it, putting my big guys in the graveyard to be reanimated. So they have to discard a card. They're thinking about their choices. They're in a rough spot, so they need to deal with the Shepherding Spirits. And they need to not die to Shroud Stomper trigger. They put their own Rite of the Moth in the bin. And I draw an Exercise. Alright, so that has power 3, so I can't hit it. Alright, so they do deal with the Shepherding Spirits. That's fine. Now they need to gain at least 1 life, or they are dead on graveyard. Nope, they are just equipping. That doesn't have lifelink. They have died. I mean, also they're just dead to me having a 2/2, so that's fun. I'm going to kill them the cool way, though. I'm going to kill them the cool way, which is reanimation. Reanimates Shroud Stomper. Each opponent loses 2 life. Alright. We successfully outground the opponent who missed land drops a bunch. I think we also missed 1 land drop. Alright, so the deck basically, from a single game played, the deck sort of works as advertised. Like, that is what I was hoping to do. Just cast a bunch of Rite of the Moths, reanimate a bunch of stuff, and then attack them. Alright, and next up, we have, again, triple black, but this time we have almost all black cards, one of which draws cards, so this is keepable. Yep, and we even draw the plains immediately, which is nice. And another plains, also fine. Hopefully I don't just draw plains for the rest of the game. Alright, so they are blue-white, which I guess is Glimmers. So I can flash that in and get them. Yeah, so I think the plan is they're going to attack with both of these. I'm going to flash this in and block the 1/1, and they're going to feel foolish. Yep, so that one can't be blocked this turn, which is fine. And Glimmer Light to create another 1/1. Yes, and they're putting everything on that, which is exactly what I want. Alright, no, they didn't attack with the 1/1. They saw through my scheme. Now, unfortunately for them, I do have the Seized from Slumber. So it's not really a big problem. I think I'm just going to draw some cards. And stay back on defense, I think. I would love to just trade off this Amalgam for their big Surveyor. Top or bottom? I think it's going to go to the bottom. I think I am past the point where I need a 3-mana 3/2. Alright. We're drawing all the lands we ever need. So I can... So I can just cast this next turn. So this turn, I guess I can Seized from Slumber. They're 3/3. Slow down the clock a lot. And then... I guess I could put this Infection on anything, and it doesn't really matter. They're just going to sacrifice a Glimmer. Alright, so their clock has slowed down a lot. I have Shroud Stomper coming, which will gain me some life. That is a 5/7, which I do not love to see. So my 6/5 lines up very poorly against that. And I don't have an additional land to go Fear of Immobility plus Cynical Loner. Alright, so I can Fear of Immobility, tap you, stun it. That'll buy me a lot of time. It'll buy me some time at least. Alright, well, I came to play big guys. I'm going to play a big guy. I don't love being at 8. I don't love that they have a flyer. Alright, they can't get rid of my Spectral Snatcher. But I think I'm dead here, probably. So I block that. I take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And, I mean, not literally dead, but if they put the counter elsewhere... Oh, yeah, they can make that not unblockable. Right. Okay, you got me. Yep, that was a decent match. But our opponent did a lot of stuff. We didn't really have the tempo, basically. They were just too fast. I think we could have come back if given infinite time. But we weren't given infinite time, so we lost. Alright, we have 2 mana. We have a 2-mana removal spell, a 2-mana creature, and plane cycling, so this is easily keepable. Let's see what they're up to. They're up to Fear of Lost Teeth. Alright, I will play my Cynical Loner. If they want to race, I'm obviously going to be much better at that, but not going to block that. See what else they have. Yep, obviously not going to block that. So I don't have the reanimation half of stuff. I can get stuff in the graveyard with Loner or Fanatic or Plane Cycling. I just need a way of getting them back. And they have more Fear of Lost Teeth. So I'm going to Plane Cycle this to not miss a land drop. Which is kind of awkward. But I don't have any good attacks. They would love to make that trade, so I'm not going to. The good news is they have 2 1-mana 1/1s. Yep, not gonna block. The good news is they have 2 1-mana 1/1s, which means hopefully my deck can go over them by playing a 4-mana 2/2. And Shroud Stomper can go to the bin, of course. I'm just looking for Valgroth's Faithful, or whatever that other one is called. I'm blanking on the name. The 4-mana Reanimator spell with Flashback. Alright, they are not mono black. They have just found the red mana. Okay, that's pretty good. So that gets rid of my Loner and means my 2/2 can't block their teeth. Although it couldn't really anyway. Why are you holding priority? Alright. Oh yeah, you had to target me, which you were confused about. Alright, but they didn't end up attacking. And I miss a land drop. So I'm just going to attack in, I guess. Yep, just trade off their guy for my guy. Hopefully they get confused and target the Fanatic instead of my face. That would be very cool. Nope. They remembered it correctly. And I will play another Cynical Loner. So now they only have 1 Fear of Lost Teeth, which means this Infection is reasonably likely to get one of their, like a big 5-mana thing that they play this turn. So I love that. Fanatic of the Harrowing. I'm going to toss back a Murder. They're tossing a Cracked Skull. I don't block here. I would love to put the Infection on the Fear of Lost Teeth first. Alright, so now I can attack with my Loner, which means I can get a Reanimator spell in the graveyard, and I have Swamp Cycling, so I'm not even going to miss a land drop this turn. Alright, yes, I would love to put a Rite of the Moth in the graveyard. So if I draw another land, then I have a reanimation spell. Cynical Loner. Pretty good. I just need to hit any land, and I can get back the Shroud Stomper. And then hopefully I can get more stuff. Alright, Bear Trap is not a concern. They want to spend their entire turn getting rid of my 3/1, which already did the thing I wanted it to do. That's fine by me. Alright, cool. Get back the Shroud Stomper, draw a card, do some draining. And that's enters or attacks, and it also has Death Touch for some reason. So I'm going to outvalue them pretty dang quick here, unless they can get rid of that. Alright. They can't get rid of it at the moment. And if they don't have another creature, I can force through my attack here. I can force an attack where this lives by, like, tapping down the Fear of Lost Teeth. Which, yeah. I'm absolutely going to do that. Just want to draw cards off of my Shroud Stomper for infinite value purposes. And also, like, crashing in for 5. So they're going to need to use another removal spell to permanently kill the Shroud Stomper. or play a blocker. Alright, they have a blocker. But it is, again, not a good enough blocker, and they are dead. Goodbye. And I will be attacking you for 9. Good game. Yeah, Shroud Stomper is a house. Just... Reanimation is so fun. Especially Graveyard. Like, Rite of the Moth. The thing that won me that game by a lot was the Tutor to the Graveyard. Because I have a reanimation spell that works from the graveyard. So whichever half I need, I can get it. Alright, up to another game. So we have a 4-mana reanimator. So yeah, this is sort of a linear curve. Oh wait, this isn't the one I thought it was. I thought this was the one that 3-mana draw 2 cards. It's still fine. Still perfectly happy to keep it. So now we Cynical Loner. So if this gets an attack in, I can get an even better target for my Rite of the Moth. And if it doesn't, it's not a big deal. It looks like it might. Alright, I get my attack in. And Shroud Stomper to the bin. And from here, I'm just gonna hold up Swamp Cycle, I guess. No, I want it to be in the bin so I can reanimate it with Rite of the Moth. So this is gonna Swamp Cycle, get me a land, get me a thing in the bin, and we're gonna be good to go. Alright, Swamp Cycle. Thank you. And I think they're playing big stuff. I think the plan is to just get this going as quick as possible. Obviously, it's more value with the Defiled Crypt. I guess I may as well put another big guy in there, because I do have plenty of reanimation targets. Oh, I have the Faithful, I have the back half of the Rite. I can even get something back with the Cadaver Lab. Alright, so they do have a Murder, which is unfortunate. But I'm going to do this. And then unlock it to get back, I guess, the 6/5 and make it 2/2. And then attack and put another big guy into the bin. Like, this is just kind of disgusting amounts of value. Just so much. Cynical Loner is crazy. I was kind of skeptical of this, but it's super, super good. Who would have thought Entomb Entomb is good and limited. Alright, so they have a 3/4 reach, which is going to destroy target room. Alright. So I could just instantly flash back and get Fear of Immobility. Or I could Valgaroth's Faithful and get Fear of Immobility. I think I will flash back. Get my 4/4. Tap down their guy, stun it. And make my attack. Alright, so what do I need now? I am starting to run low on big guys in the bin. So I will put... Man, I mean... I guess I'll put a flyer in the bin. So if they try to do ground-based blockers, I can stop that. I do have a murder, which means that they very well might not be able to produce enough blockers to win here. So they have a 5/5 blocker. They have a 5/5 blocker guaranteed that they can get if they want, but that won't be enough on its own. So they're going to need 3 blockers. So if they only have 2 blockers, I get rid of 1 and then attack for 5 off of these guys. So they need 3 blockers, or like a blocker plus a removal spell. A blocker plus a removal spell would do it, because they could get rid of the Fear of Immobility and then block the Cynical Owner and only take 2. Alright, no, they are just... Sacrifice a token enchantment of their choice. That oh, that's pretty good. All right. Well, I'm going to destroy that. Attack you down to 2, and then so this has flash, which I think will be better at beating any removal spells they might have. And, like, I'm not even really the aggro deck so much necessarily. Like, I can grind for ages. So I would love to kill them next turn. If I don't, it's not a huge problem. They are thinking they can make a 5/5 with all of their mana, which wouldn't be enough, but they don't know that that wouldn't be enough. They could remove my creature, which also wouldn't be enough. So they need to do two things. They need to do 2 things this turn, otherwise they lose. Or another thing like this would obviously work. All right. So they're shuffling this into my library and putting 4 of their own things into their library. That's fine. Do you have a blocker as well? Apparently not. Do you have another removal spell? If you have another removal spell, the game continues. Yeah, I guess... So it could be like a combat trick removal spell, but I don't think it is. Alright, so it is a combat trick removal spell of the blocker variety. I would love to draw 2. This game looks like it might be going long. Alright, so I think now I am just going to try to get rid of their one of their last 2 cards. So they still have to answer my threat, or they still lose. And there was a final vengeance, which would have answered my threat. And now I'm just going to draw 2 cards and have plenty of value to overwhelm them. So they can make their 5/5, but that'll only trade with the Fanatic because I have the infection for it. Rite of the Moth. what am I getting back here? Another Fanatic of the Harrowing. I have 8 mana, so I can put the Infection on that. And obviously, you don't have to sacrifice it. So now that this trades, and I would like to play a 6/5 ward, discard a card. So we've just put them in a position where they have to 1-for-1 everything ever. And Spectral Snatcher coming back is going to make that hard. Alright, so that is target creatures. Get -2, -2. Do I have a... No, my fear of immobility is gone. So this is going to be another trade. So yeah, we're just going to attack in. They're going to trade. We're going to Rite of the Moth. We're going to get a flyer, because that's probably harder to deal with. And we're going to Valgavoth's Faithful and grab this guy back. So now they have to deal with both of my things. This one has ward. This one can't be blocked easily. So we've been pushing for a while. Flytrap is not enough. Do you have like a fight spell or something? Yeah, Withering Torment, not enough. This guy doesn't have reach. I attack for 4. Oh, that deals 2. Right. Withering Torment just couldn't be cast by them. That was a fantastic game. That game showcased perfectly what I want this deck to do, which is we just reanimate stuff, and reanimate stuff, and reanimate stuff, and they just have to kill the same creatures over and over again until they die. Until they can't deal with my creatures anymore, and then that's that. I really love grindy value games. It's my favorite way of playing Magic. What's your record so far today? I believe I am 3-1, which is pretty good. So obviously the goal is to get to 7-2, because if you get 7 wins, then you're good to go. I am kind of on track for that. It's obviously going to be difficult, but I am on track, which is very good. Alright, we're going to lead on a Bear Trap. Just run this out, make their life more difficult. And a Reluctant Role Model, which can maybe be like a 3/3. Maybe have lifelink. Depends on what they do. So I can Swamp Cycle this and immediately bring it back. Doesn't seem amazing, but maybe. Alright, so that's a 3/3 defender. And it can be not a defender a lot of the time. So I think we Bear Trap that to get a Role Model through. And I think we take Flying, because that makes it more likely we can hit more times with this. Yep. We were correct to do that. Alright, so now we have to Swamp Cycle to hit our land drop. And we'll play a Cynical Loner. And now we're going to give this lifelink, because why not? And the next turn it can be we can make it a 3/3. Alright, so that is flying and vigilance. Alright, so now we can play the crypt, and it did it wrong. It did the crypt wrong. That's very annoying. I should have been paying attention. So obviously this attack doesn't get through, but it does get to my second main phase, where it can make this a 3/3. Alright, and it's destroyed, but I get to Manifest Dread. Unfortunately, neither of these are a creature. So it doesn't matter which I take. So now I can make the Loner a 4/2 flyer. So that's pretty good. Do you have another removal spell? So now the question is, what do I get back with the crypt? Almost certainly the Spectral Snatcher. Alright. Nope, they're exiling it. That's fine by me. So I have actually missed a land drop, which is not great for me. But we're just going to attack with our 4/2 flying lifelinker. And we need reanimation, so I'm going to put a Rite of the Moth in the bin. But unfortunately I cannot cast it. I guess I could have done Fear of Immobility first to swing in with this profitably. But, oh well. That would have been better, but I didn't think of it. Tap up to one target creature and put 2 stun counters on it. Alright, so the Loner is gone for the foreseeable future. And that's kind of like hitting a land. It's not, but it's kind of like it. And they're still under a fair amount of pressure. I have 6 power coming at them. They don't have any great blocks. So I will be able to start Rite of the Mothing next turn, and if I draw a land, I can even Shroud Stomper. So I think we're in a good spot here. So that's not a huge deal. This is good, but not great. Yes, and they are losing their Glimmer. Oh wait, this lets me search forever. That's funny. That's very funny. What do I even take? So I only have one Rite of the Moth. I only have one Rite of the Moth available, so I'm just going to take the second one. And hopefully 2 reanimation spells will be enough to seal the deal. And it's funny that this doesn't actually have to attack. Alright, and they're making that guy bigger. Oh wait, it has Vigilance. It has Vigilance, which means I can't actually do this. So I'm going to take 3, which is not a huge deal. Alright, I did draw a land. So I think I just attack with the Fear of Immobility and Shroud Stomper post-combat. How many targets do I have in here? I have 1 target. I'll put a second one in. How about a flyer? Alright, they held up a counterspell, but that's fine. I'm just going to reanimate it next turn. And Cynical Loner is also going to be untapping, which makes their life a whole lot harder. Like, they're borderline dead with the Seize from Slumber. And they're just going to be drawing... I think they're dead. Unless they have super cheap interaction, I can just kill their 3/5 and then kill them. Yep. Alright. Dead. And they concede. Alright, we are cooking with gas here. We're up to what, 4-1? And I completed a quest at some point. Yep, we're at 4-1. So, that's pretty good. Pretty good indeed. So I think if I remember the math right, 4-1 is like almost break even. 5-1 is more than break even. Or four wins is almost break even. 5 wins is, I think, a little more than break even if you count the packs. And then past that, you're just strictly ahead. So we're definitely going well. Alright, we have 2 removal spells, we have 2 creatures. This isn't the most exciting hand, but Cynical Loner can fix a whole lot of stuff. Opponent is named Yawgmoth. Interesting. So do we lead on this because it's better earlier, or do we lead on this because it's better earlier? I think we lead on the role model just because, like, I need to get 2 triggers with Cynical Loner, and it seems unlikely. I guess we can see. Obviously, if they run out like a 1-1 or something, then Loner's not going to be doing all that much. Opponent is playing slow. Or maybe they aren't even here. I certainly... On the one hand, this makes for not super exciting content. On the other hand, I certainly won't complain about a free win in a draft. So yeah, make sure to follow if you haven't already. Yep. All right. I think the opponent is just gone, which is a little bit unfortunate. All right. No, they seem to have reappeared. Are they just playing extraordinarily slowly? No, they're playing at a reasonable rate. Valgaroth Lair is just a tap land. Alright, just a generic tap land that works for any color. I guess that means they might be doing something crazy, like a bunch of colors and they needed the fixing. Could be my read on that. Plains. And Fear of Surveillance. Yeah, so this is the problem. I guess I will kill that with my Bear Trap since I have it, but it means I'm not running out the Cynical Loner this turn, which is not good. So this kid is going to get flying. So it is hopefully harder to deal with. Alright, they've trapped it in the screen. That's fine. So usefully it is not a blocker, which means my Cynical Loner might get through. And with Seize from Slumber it can probably get through. Cynical Owner is going to need to put in some work because this hand is not great. Tunnel Surveyor making a 1/1. Alright, that's annoying. That's very annoying. So I guess... yeah, I guess I'll get rid of their 2/2. And I'm not going to attack because I need to get at least one connection with the Cynical Loner in order to have a chance of doing the thing in this game. I probably am going to need like 2. Unless I start top decking like crazy. So if I start getting my top end here, then we're in fine shape. Haunted Screen is worrying because it can become a 7/7. That card is deceptively good. And a Valgravas Faithful. They don't really have anything super exciting to reanimate yet. And they've just cantripped. So they do look like they are 3-color. And I am drawing lands. Alright, so I can actually force this trigger through. Oh, they're just letting it happen. That's huge for me. So I am going to first put a Rite of the Moth in the graveyard because it's more likely to be useful. They still don't have anything worth reanimating with Valgavoth. If they did, I would kill it. Turn target creature with mana value 3 or less from a graveyard to the battlefield. That is fine. They're just going to get another Glimmer. Alright, what are they doing now? Making even more Glimmers. Alright, they are super wide. They are the widest anyone has ever been. And they are attacking. I guess if they're going to attack, I will kill their Valgavoth's Faithful to turn off a reanimation. Alright, Fanatic of the Harrowing is a pretty good draw, I think. So unfortunately, I don't get to draw a card off of this. But I do get to take their last card. And there's still no way I can afford to attack at the moment. And they are up to 6 mana. So this Haunted Screen is almost live. Which is very bad for me. I would love to trade off the Fanatic and then just Rite of the Moth it back to try to get something happening. Alright. So they have unlocked the room. And they're attacking with all. Alright. I will block a random Glimmer and take the rest. And now we're in a lot of trouble. Another land. Please. Alright, well, now I can at least get in with a Cynical Loner, which gets me my Shroud Stomper into play. So that is pretty good. And I'll play a Swamp, I guess. So now I have a 5/5 Death Touch, which can draw me cards by attacking. But they still have a pretty good board. And it's going to be getting better before it gets worse. Dashing Bloodsucker, fortunately not leveling up the Haunted Screen. Should be truly catastrophic for me. I just hope they forget about that for the rest of the game. So they don't have good attacks. Alright, Murder is probably the best draw I could have gotten. And I just have to attack with the Shroud Stomper. Alright, Valgavoth's Faithful is fine. If only I could get the Cynical Loner tapped, but the Bloodsucker easily blocks it. Alright. Do I get them here and keep my Shroud Stomper? I think I have to. I think the Shroud Stomper is like the only way I continue to exist in this game. It has a finality counter on it. Alright, so now I have a Valgavoth's Faithful in play. They can level up the Haunted screen. But they had to tap it to do that, which is excellent news. And they concede? I don't think they were dead. I don't think they were dead there. I think it was sketchy, but I think they had a chance. But I'm not gonna complain. I do think I was at a pretty good spot there. I don't think it's like super crazy for them to concede. It's definitely a little crazy. All right, we're up to 5 wins and 1 loss. So we just have to go 50% from here. We just have to go 50% from here and we are good to go. Alright. This hand goes Loner, get the thing back, remove 1 thing. I guess this is fine. I just need to draw action. I just need to draw action and this hand is fine. Obviously not playing out a 1 mana do nothing. Yep, just 2 more. Just have to win 2 of my next 4-ish games and we're good to go. They have a mountain. So, do they have a good burn spell? If they just have a blocker, I can murder it. If they have nothing, then that's great for me. Alright, Human Resources Geiger. What do you have? Do you have a land? Do you have a shock type thing? Do you have a creature? What do you got for me? Are they gone? They might have left. This could be a keep a 1-lander rage quit. I think that's a keep a 1-lander rage quit. All right, well, we take those, I guess. What do I even want to put it in? I think I want to lead on putting Shroud Stomper in and passing. So I'd love to get the 2/2s off the Defiled Crypt. Alright, they came back. Oh, it wasn't a 1-lander rage quit, it was just a 1-lander do nothing. Okay. Well, that's fine by me. So I'm going to hit them for another 3. Now I think I get a Rite of the Moth into the bin. And I play a Defiled Crypt. So I am set up for some pretty disgusting graveyard value, and my opponent is behind on lands. Alright. Did you draw your 3rd land so that you can continue playing the game? Yes, you did. Very, very lucky. Yeah, Ripchain Razorkin, obviously, they don't want to be sacrificing a land. It's a safe discard. Alright. They have active treasoned my cynical owner, so they are going to get one tutor themselves, but red-green probably doesn't care as much about that. Oh wait, were they... Why did they discard a forest? Alright, so they have Delirium. Artifact, creature, sorcery, land. They have Delirium. Now we just have to beat them up. Get this guy back. Get a 2/2. Attack for 3. Put another thing into the bin. And it's gonna be... I think we get a 6/5 into the bin. And play the Fanatic of the Harrowing. They don't seem like they're playing a huge number of creatures, so I'm going to get rid of the Sporogenic Infection and see what they get rid of. Alright, and I did draw my land, which means next turn I can Rite of the Moth back the Spectral Snatcher. Cryptid Inspector. So that is just a guy that gets bigger as he goes. So I guess I could attack and offer the trade first. There's no real reason not to, I think. And I think I'm fine with this trade. I think I've gotten enough off of my loner. And now we get a 6/5 into play and a 2/2. Seems pretty good. Alright, and that is just a 4/4. Alright, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If I did my math right, this murder is lethal. Yep. I'm good at addition. Alright, another win. We are looking like we might get a 7-1. Alright, we have 2 chances to get 1 win. And if we do, then we're in good shape. Alright, just keep the good games coming. Alright, we are playing against all the lads. They're gold drafter, which means they might be pretty good. This hand seems great. I don't think I lead on the Faithful. I think I just want to play this on 5 to get my Spectral Snatcher back. So we'll see what they're up to. They are also black-white. They're playing a rat. Alright, that's fine by me. Swamp Cycle. Alright, so Defile the Crypt is a good turn 4 play when I'm intending on Valgroth's Faithfulling on turn 5. Fanatic of the Harrowing is also fine. Opponent is just attacking with a 1/1. I think I will play this just to get stuff set up. And I can even use this to get the Valgroth's Faithful back to reanimate again. Right, they have keys to the house, which they are just going to grab a land for. Fair enough. And a mountain. Alright, they are doing 3 color, which is kind of scary. Specifically, they're doing 3 color and they have 3 of their colors. Alright, Alright, so I am going to Valgravas Faithful and just bring back my guy. And I get a 2/2 out of it. So we'll see if this is enough. If it's not enough, I can bring the Faithful back. It's not quite a loop, but it's pretty good. Alright, so that is sacrifice another thing to put a counter on it, and then deal damage to a target. Alright, Sheltered by Ghosts is fine, but not great. So they have to discard a card to make that happen. And I can just Infection. I can just use the Infection to get it back. Yeah, they are not gonna love to see this. So I get my guy back. And do I bring back the Faithful? Yeah, I think I will bring the Faithful back. Get another 2/2. And just attack for 2. I'm going to flash this guy in the end step. Kind of telegraph that I have something, because I'm not playing the Faithful out, but it is what it is. If they want to kill the Spectral Snatcher, it better be exile removal. That's all I'm saying. It is exile removal. But they're going to have to discard another card. Alright. Opponent is grinding themselves into the dust here, getting rid of this guy again. Alright, so this is Delirium. And it deals like 2 damage to me. Alright. That's... Take damage. Take damage. Flash in the Amalgam. Oh, Shroud Stomper. If only I had one more land. That's fine. We are going to get rid of one of these Stick Twisters. And play a Fanatic, get rid of their last card, put my reanimation target in the graveyard. Their last card was a Sheltered by Ghosts. And now we can attack them for a bunch and keep a removal spell. And we even have a Derelict Attic in case all of this isn't enough. I can refuel. I will take damage. And Valgravas Faithful. Bring back my boy. Do a bunch of damage, do 2 to them, and we jam again. I don't need a land, can go into the graveyard. And they are down to 6. They're down to 6, I have a Shroud Stomper in play, I have 3 cards in hand, one of which draws a bunch of cards. They're just going to play a tap land. And what is their last card? Looks like a removal spell for Shroud Stomper, maybe. Yeah, that ain't it, Chief. That is not anywhere near enough. Yep, so I can sack a non-land permanent, which will be this thing, and attack for a bunch. Another Fanatic of the Harrowing, that's fine. So they're going to be... Did I do my math wrong? Is that lifelink? No, I did not. They could have gone to 0 by blocking the Amalgam. But yeah. Easy peasy. Just the cleanest of 7-1s. So the deck did what I hoped it would do, and it did it very well. Alright. We're going to do another. That'll be fun. Alright, so we are back picking cards. Razorkin Needlehead is fine but not thrilling. I've really loved black as a color. I did black-green to get a 7-2 a couple days ago. Black-white got me a 7-1 just now. This card in particular has been kind of just fine. But alright, that's not very good. This is like a 4-mana Mind Rot, which I'm not excited about. I think we just take the kind of fine card. Leyline of Mutation. I mean, oh, that's no good. That's, of all of the rares to see in Pack 2, that's one of the ones you would expect to make it to Pack 2. Yeah, I can't take Leyline of Mutation. Alright, so if we're not doing that, then what are we doing? Cynical Loner, are we just going to run back? I mean, this card was insanely busted last game. I guess... do we seriously just run back black-white? There's lots of good white cards left, so it's probably open. I think we just run back black-white and see what happens. What's Fear of Infinity? Is enchantment stuff and it comes back. That's fine. Emerge from the Cocoon is pretty good. Shepherding Spirits is pretty good. Yeah, I think we're just going to run back black-white Reanimator. And like basically if we saw a card that we saw last time, we're going to pick it. Fanatic of the Harrowing is good value. Shroud Stomper is the best finisher ever. Rite of the Moth is the easiest pick of my life. Appendage Amalgam is fine. It wasn't special, but it did the job. Let's play a game. I cut it last time, but I might not cut it this time. Chandelier is no good. 6 mana, 4/4 flyer, not exciting. I guess we take the Fear of Lost Teeth. Alright. Fanatic of the Harrowing going this late. Seems like the bots are not picking black at all. Undead Sprinter is not worth it, probably. Nowhere to Run is a pretty good removal spell. Nowhere to Run is a pretty good removal spell. I will take that. I love having good removal spells. Final Vengeance is a pretty bad removal spell. Fear of Surveillance is slow. Emerge from the Cocoon. We're playing a Reanimator deck. We need Reanimator cards. Spectral Snatcher is top end. This card... I think I remember this card being insanely busted on my opponent's side once. So we're going to take that. Alright, we are sort of low on actual reanimation, which could be a problem. I guess Glimmerlight is fine. Unwanted Remake is like sort of like Swords to Plowshares if you squint. Emerge from the Cocoon, we need reanimation stuff. Shroud Stomper is the great top end we need. We need our card draw. I guess we take a combat trick. It might be useful at some point. And then we're just that. Spectral Snatcher is a great card. Chandelier is not exciting. Fear of Lost Teeth is not exciting. Alright, what we need is more Rite of the Moths, more Cynical Loners. We have the Shroud Stompers. Right, so we have 2 Shroud Stompers, 2 Spectral Snatchers. I don't think we really need a 3rd Shroud Stomper, even though it is very good. I think just removal spells to not die first. Yeah, I mean, we have so much top end already. None of these cards are super exciting. I'll take the Machete, I guess. Leyline of the Void is a hate card, but I don't think we need that. Alright, we do need... What on earth? If it was cast, each player exiles all but the bottom 6 cards of their library face down at the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card. I mean, that's just so sick. But live or die, though. Man, how do you have to tempt me between the incredibly cool payoff and the kind of boring but practical card? I'm going to take the incredibly cool payoff. I don't care. Osseous Dick Twister is delirium stuff. I guess we can take it. Yeah, the fact that we only have 1 Cynical Loner and 1 Rite of the Moth means that this deck is going to be way less exciting than the previous one. I'll take a Bear Trap. It's a good removal. I'll take a removal. A 3/2. Fear of Immobility was pretty good, like mid-ish, mid-game stuff. I guess if you're going to twist my arm about it, I'll take another Shroud Stomper and another Derelict Attic. Friendly Teddy, I guess. Another Fanatic of the Harrowing is good to see late. And okay, so I think this deck is much worse than the last one. So that's not great. But I think we have lots of top end. In terms of reanimation, we have 3 Emerge from the Cocoon, 1 Rite of the Moth. Yeah, I mean, it's just those cards. Which is not exciting, but we do have enough discard to get this guy in the graveyard. Alright, so the Machete is kind of boring. We need to cut some top end. And I think it's gonna be the Vile Mutilator. Because I'm just not sure. Well, no, that's an additional cost to cast it, so I can cheat that with my reanimation. So that's cool. What What's my Delirium look like? 3 instants, 5 sorceries, 4 artifacts, 11 enchantments, 20 creatures. Let's Play game seems plausible, but I'm just not excited about it. I'm also not excited about that. I don't really have many rooms. I'm also not excited about that. It's just sort of a decent card. Teddy is lame. Glimmerlight is lame. Osseous Stick Twister is Delirium, but it is a 2/2 lifelink, which could be good. Jump Scare is a bad combat trick. I need these to discard stuff, because I do not want to be casting Doomsday Excruciator and Vile Mutilator. That's my most useful removal. What's my curve? The curve is crazy high. Largely really because of these 4 Derelict Addicts, which I think I can cut probably all of, actually. No, I think I want 2 card draw spells. That seems important. Okay. Fear of Immobility is probably my least exciting top end, so I can cut that and bring it down some. So I'm still going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 big guys to cast. That's probably even still too many. Did I count that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 now. Okay. 7 is probably fine. Oh, Fear of Lost Teeth is just a random 1-mana spell that does nothing. Cynical Owner is the best card in the deck. Nowhere to Run is a removal spell. Osseous Stick Twister, I don't think I can get Delirium consistently. 2 more cuts. I think we cut Let's Play a Game. I don't think I can get Delirium consistently. And 1 Shroud Stomper. Just cut down on the top end a little bit. We're going to call this good. It's not the last deck by any means, but I think it can still get the job done. The Cynical Owners are the thing that's missing most. I still have 1 of them. Alright, so this is just removal spell on 1, removal spell on 3. Yeah, this is fine. I'm not going to use Unwanted Remake early, which is a little bit awkward, but, you know, it is what it is. I still think Double Fanatic can probably get me the value I need. Alright, so they're black-green, so they're going to be doing Delirium stuff. Almost certainly. Yep, they are doing Delirium stuff. So I could make that a 2/2. That's not good enough. I think I will trap it in this green. So Patchwork Beastie, I played the black-green deck. That card is very good. It turns on Delirium. It's a 3/3. Just get rid of it. Use my mana early. I have a lot of big clunky stuff, like Rite of the Moth, for instance. Alright, the first Fanatic of the Harrowing. I think since I drew the Rite of the Moth, I'm going to be doing that with the Shroud Stomper. This card's so good, by the way, in a Reanimator deck especially. They've gotten rid of a Final Vengeance, which is great. And they used a removal spell on my random 2/2. Alright, they have Delirium, Artifact, Creature, Sorcery, Instant. And they're just playing a 3/4. Alright, I am going to get back the boy. Alright. Shroud Stomper. Pretty good card on turn, like, what, that was 5? It's a 7-drop. So now I'm just going to grind them into dust with Shroud Stompers and Fanatics. They are communing with evil. That's fine by me. It's obviously very slow for them. Alright, they are passing. I'm going to run out my Bear Trap. Cynical Loner even decided to show up. That's great. I'm going to attack. Emerge from the Cocoon is here. Alright, I'm going to run out the Cynical Loner and the Fanatic. I think I toss a land. I don't think I need land 7 necessarily. Opponent is going to run into a serious value problem if they let me attack with this Shroud Stomper. And it looks like they are. Alright, I'm going to attack with both. And I will Unwanted Remake to protect the Cynical Loner. Alright, they are getting their big guy back. Okay. So I lose my Loner, but I get to keep the Shroud Stomper. So this is still very good for me. And I will also then use the Bear Trap to finish off the Anthropede, so that's at least a trade. And we pass. So in terms of the graveyard, I don't really have anything super exciting to get back. So I am going to cycle the Snatcher. Alright, they're doing the whole shebang. And they're conceding. Alright. Fine by me. Yeah, Shroud Stomper, pretty good card if it comes down like 2 turns before it's supposed to. As it turns out. God, I love Shroud Stomper. It's just so fun. Just infinite value straight out the graveyard. Alright, so we have removal spell into removal spell into removal spell, and we have a Rite of the Moth, so eventually we will find something, and we'll be able to reanimate it. Until then, we're just gonna not die. Okay, Bear Trap. Opponent is Mountain on the play. Mountain Forest cycling. Makes sense. So they are red-green. And I think our removal spell hand is going to be pretty good against a red-green deck. Alright. So that is a 3/1 that surveils 1. It's not super exciting. I think we let that live. There's probably more juicy targets for the Nowhere to Run. And there's definitely more juicy targets for the Unwanted Remake. So we are going to draw some cards, and see what we get. Alright, reanimation spell removal. So we still need to draw a big scary guy. but we're going to have plenty of time to find one, is what we're getting at here. They do have 6 power. There's a big scary guy. All right. Big scary guy found. Now we just have to get it into the graveyard somehow, which seems more difficult. I'm going to trap one of these dogs in the screen to slow down their clock, which is getting pretty fast. So this, obviously I could have bear trapped it, but this prevents them from surveilling. Alright, so I need a discard outlet to get this guy into the bin, because I'm never casting a 6th drop. And they seem to be all in on self-mill. Have a lot of that. Just need to pass and discard to hand size. Yeah, that's a good shout. I would need to not do anything for the next 2 turns for that, which is kind of sketchy. Like, I gotta do something. The bear trap can sort of help, but alright, another big guy. Alright, do I play my 5th land? I think discard to hand size is probably the best line here. So this is probably going to be much better. It's hard to tell. I don't love missing 2 land drops, and I might be forced off of this plan. We'll see. Alright, that's scary. It's not super scary, but now I definitely need to just kill every creature for the rest of the game. So, Emerge from the Cocoon can buy me a lot of time, so I'm not really going to die from this alone. Ah. And passing was a mistake, because we did end up drawing the discard outlet. Alright. It's gotta be the Vile Mutilator. Just get rid of an enchantment and get rid of a creature. And the Shroud Stomper even shows up. Alright, now we're in good shape. Yeah, they can kill my Fanatic. It's done its job. Alright, field exposure. That's fine. I think I can leave that be. I'm going to be doing such big things here in a minute. Yeah, it's just gonna die. Emerge from the Cocoon and sacrifice. So I think they can get away with just sacrificing the Fear of Exposure if they choose it as their enchantment. But they might mess up and not know that. Yep, they messed up and they didn't know it. Alright, cool. And now we are infinitely far ahead. So we have a 6/5 Flying Trampler and a random 2/2. We can give our stuff Death Touch if we need to. Probably won't need to. Chainsaw doesn't kill the real threat. Alright, more Shroud Stompers. I would love to see more lands instead. Alright. I think I Rite of the Moth back the Fanatic. Just to get the... Excruciator into the graveyard. And Rite of the Moth is just such a good card. So assuming I draw land, which I didn't. But if I draw land, then I can Rite of the Moth back the Excruciator, and that'll be very funny. Yeah, they conceded. Their red-green deck probably struggles to beat a giant 6/5 and an infinite train of reanimated spells. Alright, we are up 2-0. While we're waiting for an opponent to show up, make sure to follow. It helps me out a lot. Yeah. So I do a lot of draft here. I also occasionally play Explorer if that's what you're interested in. So yeah, just waiting for an opponent. And we find one. Alright, this hand kinda sucks. I mean, yeah, it just can't keep that. This hand is much better. We have removal spell, and eventually a reanimation spell. Another red deck. We're going to play Bear Trap. So this... I wonder what their second color is. It could be another red-green. This sort of makes me think more likely to be red-white. But yeah, alright, they are red-white. Yep. Just creating a bunch of random 1/1s. So Trapped in the Screen, unfortunately, not the most efficient removal spell against this. I'll leave up Bear Trap, see if they play anything interesting. Fear of being hunted. I'm glad I left up Bear Trap. So you can attack with everything, and I will kill that. Alright, I just keep drawing lands. Just gotta draw something good. Like the draw discard guy would be fantastic. Obviously, a giant creature that can get in my graveyard would be fantastic. But they are going to be attacking us for 3 a turn, which is a lot. That's not nothing. They didn't equip the Glimmer Light, so they're going to do something post-combat. Okay, that is going a lot wider than I can easily deal with. So now I just need to get a blocker. Shroud Stomper is eventually going to help. I think I need to Trapped in the Screen the face down card on the off chance that it is something big and scary. It was a Plains. Alright, so if they can kill my enchantment, they can ramp, which is kind of funny. So if I can get the Shroud Stomper down and be at a reasonable life total, then I can definitely bring this back. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to manage that. My opponent is thinking. Ethereal Armor. Okay, that's officially very bad. Very, very bad. We're just going to get run over here, I think. Yeah, we had 2 removal spells, and they had way more than 2 creatures. And we never drew... Alright, Unwanted Remake is going to deal with the twins. So I'm not just dead on board. I have a removal spell. Let them go to attacks. And get that out of here for the time being. So I have 6 mana, so if this is a Plains, then I can Shroud Stomper, gain life back. If it's like a decent-sized creature, I can play it and have a blocker. Jump Scare. Alright, so I am going to 2 then, which I do not love. Alright, I'm going to need something pretty good here. And another creature. Yep. Just came up short. 1 removal spell is not going to do it. I pretty much needed them to have nothing and then Shroud Stomper to stabilize. Such is the life of a grindy Reanimator deck. And we play another one. Right, got a match pretty quickly this time. We got the match so quick I didn't have the time to remind you guys to follow. Haha, I did it anyway. Alright. Lamphead, what do you have for me? So I have like a bunch of removal spells. Hello. Alright. Derelict Attic is a great draw because it means I get some card advantage. I am going to Swamp Cycle this because it is almost certainly better in the graveyard than in hand. We are playing a mirror, so my exile-based removal is going to be pretty useful, I think. Right, so they have a Popular Egotist. I could kill it, or I could play the Amalgam. I think I pass, and probably kill it in response to them doing something. I'm fine with taking 3. I would love for them to blow a combat trick here for some reason, but they're not going to. Yeah, I'm just gonna kill it. I think there's almost like nothing that they could play where I wouldn't just kill it. Alright, so they are going to be giving it hexproof for this turn. That's fine. I will trap it in the screen. Alright, so I can do this. And unfortunately nothing else this turn, except for Hold Up Unwanted Remake, which I would rather not cast. Alright, you can go away. And maybe if I'm lucky, they will have no more gas. Savior of the Small. Return target creature with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to your hand if it's tapped. Alright, that's not the most scary thing in the world. I'm going to draw another 2 cards. And run out a Cynical Loner. So this will let me get So they don't even have a creature with mana value 3 less in their graveyard at the moment. So Cynical Loner can get me my Moth thing. Alright. They're going to kill it. That's fine. And they're going to attack and get no value out of it. So I can just hardcast Shroud Stomper now? Yeah, I think hardcasting Shroud Stomper seems pretty great. Just gain my life back, draw a card, have a blocker. Okay, that is horrifying. Yeah, that is very bad for me. But it doesn't give it haste for some reason. So at least I got that. So now I could play my 6/5. But I'm so low already, I think I just need to hold up interaction. So I can know where to run that and then block it, and then it just dies. Alright, well, I'm also going to have to get rid of that at some point. Alright, so I flash this guy in. I know where to run the Savior. We pass to blockers first, and then we know where to run. So they can't even Shard Mage's Rescue because this turns off Hexproof and Ward. So my Amalgam should just eat their Savior. Alright, opponent has Unwanted Remake. That is great. So it does unfortunately mean that this doesn't die, but it also means that I have this guy. I'm going to turn him face up. Oh, right. That's an ETB, not a turn face up. Oops. So yeah, that was very bad. So I could give it Death Touch and attack, but I just need the defense. Yeah, in my mind, turn face up was the same as enters the battlefield, and it is not. Alright, so that is very good that I didn't play out the Snatcher, I guess. So I'm going to have to Unwanted Remake the Savior in response to this, so that it doesn't get indestructible. And I will still be taking 2. But I just need a reanimation spell. And even if I don't get a reanimation spell, I'm not like instantly dead. I need to draw something that isn't to land, basically. Alright. Another Fanatic, which I don't think I can draw a card with. I think I need to play out my 6/5. And just force them to discard a card. So Spectral Snatcher should hopefully keep me safe. It's hard to deal with. It's got Ward, discard a card. They put a Rite of the Moth into the bin. What do they have? Nothing huge. They have Hardcast Shroud Stomper. Yeah, and that has flying. Alright. I played a reanimation deck, and I didn't draw any reanimation spells in the top more than half of my deck, and I probably would have won with even a single reanimation spell at any point, but sometimes you just get unlucky. Alright, as expected, this deck is not nearly as good as the last deck. But I think we can still get another win or two out of this. Right, we're waiting for opponent, which means we found one, but for some reason they aren't showing up. While we're waiting for opponent, make sure to follow. I'm a small streamer and it helps me out a huge amount. It's like super helpful for me. So yeah. I play Magic. I play Satisfactory sometimes. I play Draft, I play Explorer. Do all sorts of fun stuff here. Still waiting for opponent. Alright. We got there. I think I heard an explosion in the background. Did they concede? Yeah, alright. It became a draw. It's unfortunate. Alright. And back into the queue. Hopefully we find someone. Just waiting in the queue. Alright, so this is 2 lands, basically 3 lands. It has a discard outlet, a removal spell. This is fine. I'm going to need to draw my reanimation, but this is fine. Alright. Bear Trap coming in at the least convenient time. Alright, they play their Cheerleader. I will Swamp Cycle. Okay, so I can Amalgam to trade with their Cheerleader, which doesn't seem super exciting. I mean, do I just let this be a flyer and Bear Trap it later? I think I just let it be a flyer and Bear Trap it later. Alright, so they are also black-white, but they have a fancy land. Alright, and they instantly destroy it. Alright, understandable. I'm going to play my Fanatic and toss the Excruciator into the bin. They're going to probably laugh when they see that one. Alright, I even drew a 5th land, so now I'm just waiting on any reanimation spell, and I get my guy back. Alright, I'm obviously going to draw some cards to get more looks for a reanimation spell, because this is the only thing that I care about at the moment. Lands are fine. So now I have enough lands in hand that I can just hard cast like the Vile Mutilator. And I have a sort of useless enchantment to sacrifice as well. But they flashed in a guy. They flashed in a guy, so now I'm taking 5, which is a lot. So I think I'm going to have to go Bear Trap and then next turn double removal their stuff. 4th land. Did they miss a land at some point? Alright, Cackling Slasher is going to be the bear trap. Alright, that goes. And we can trap the cheerleader in the screen. And now the Fanatic is going to be on blocks. So next turn we can start slamming out Spectral Snatchers and or Vile Mutilators. Vile Mutilator looking pretty juicy if they play another creature. Alright. They had another removal spell, which is unfortunate. Right of the Moth. What did I have in here? The Doomsday Excruciator? I mean, I didn't come here not to reanimate 6/6 flyers. That's for certain. So at the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card. Alright, that's very bad for me. So I'm going to 3 now. I mean, they're basically just Delvering me in limited, which is scary. It's actually just a 3/2 as well. Alright, I think we just need to get rid of that. I would have loved to get more value out of it, but actually, if I get rid of this, then they get their Acrobat back and they have to sacrifice both of them, right? Because it's enchantment first. Enchantment, then creature. So by doing it that way, if they have some sort of enchantment hate, it's still gone. And also I still have this, which could be relevant. Alright, they have a Fanatic of their own. What's in the graveyard? So I have an Amalgam or a Spectral Snatcher. I think I get back a Spectral Snatcher and attack for 6. And hopefully the Spectral Snatcher will be enough to keep me alive. I am tempted to hold back a blocker. Yeah. So if I had held up Murder, then obviously I would have been more safe. I'm going to unlock the room just for an extra point of power. So now this is a 2-turn clock. This is swinging for 7. I have a Murder. I have a Murder and they are dead next turn in the air. Alright, they can flash in a guy, have a Murder up. They can surveil 1. I will block 1, murder the other. I will block the Amalgam so that even if a combat trick happens, I don't die. They could have a Shard Mage's Rescue, actually. No, there's no way going to 1 is correct here. If they have a Shard Mage's Rescue, I lose, but they don't, so I win. Alright. So they're just going to gain 2 life. And then they're still dead. Yep, and they are emoting. And they concede. Alright, that was a scary game. That was a very scary game. But we got there. And that brings us to 3 wins. So we're at least doing even in this particular event. And we just gotta keep running hot. And preferably drawing our reanimation spells. this is a removal hand, which is fine, not exciting. We have the Fanatic to try to find something better. Alright. Please say they mill me. If they mill me, I will be very happy, because that solves like half of my problem. Alright. Spectral Snatcher is great, because it gets something in the graveyard. They're playing a Nuisance. And a Swamp Cycle. Grab a Swamp. I think I just run out Cynical Owner. Yeah. This can get me a reanimation spell into the bin. The moth thing. Right of the moth. Fear of Infinity. Alright, that's a problem. Oh, please mill me. Yes. Please. Alright, they've milled me. So now... it's a bit of a tricky spot. Because... so this can't block, actually. So it's not a tricky spot at all. So I can get rid of the Nuisance, safely attack in, and get my Loner tapped. And this lets me put my Right of the Moth in the bin, which means later on I will always have a reanimation spell. So now the plan is to jam Fanatics of the Harrowing. Alright, I actually need a second white source at some point. I could bear trap that. No, I think I just need to play the Fanatics to make it more likely that I draw my lands and or reanimation spells. So that was a counter spell. Doomsday Excruciator is an exciting pickup. I think I attack with this. If they want to trade their card draw thing for my tutor that's already sort of done its tutoring, that's fine. Right, I think they look like they agree. So I am just going to put a Shroud Stomper in the yard. So any planes off the top gets me to Right of the Moth, which gets me to either Doomsday Excruciator or Shroud Stomper. So that's lifelink, which means bad things for my attempt to pressure them in the short term. They didn't attack with this, which is a bit weird. And they just main phase nowhere to run. Hello, how's it going? Pretty good. I had a 7-1 run last draft. This one is not as exciting. It's currently at 3-2, trying to make that 4-2. So, can't cast that. Yep, could be worse. Absolutely could be worse. I'm not complaining, but you know. The thing that feels kind of bad is that I ended up just drafting the same archetype as last time. So it's not just that I'm doing worse, it's that I know like exactly which cards I'm missing that are causing me to do worse. Don't play that much Arena myself. Yeah, I understand that. I have taken long breaks from Arena on multiple occasions. Right, I did get Emerge from the Cocoon, which is a reanimation spell that I can actually cast, so that's fantastic. More of a paper Magic player. Yeah, paper Magic is fun. I just have trouble like finding people to play with. And like, I don't know, building paper decks is also way more expensive, so that's also a thing. I'm just going to merge a Shroud Stomper and just stomp them into the Shroud. So they are kind of trying to mill me, but that does also mean I have like infinite reanimation targets. So I think I think I'm pretty far ahead in this game. I mean, their clock isn't huge. Coming from Yu-Gi-Oh, paper Magic prices are okay. Yeah, I don't really know much about Yu-Gi-Oh. Is it like crazy expensive? You only play Commander. Yeah, Commander is... I mean, it depends on how you define reasonable, right? Like, Commander is more reasonable than, like, obviously if you're going to play, like, Legacy or something, or Modern. 8 cards for $1,000. That's messed up. That is super messed up. Right. Fear of falling is not very scary. Do I just bring back another Shroud Stomper? I think I attack first and probably hope to get them with nowhere to run, but nope, they didn't block. So I am just going to Rite of the Moth, grab another Shroud Stomper. This year you're getting really cool sets. Well, that's good. Alright, so we have 2 Shroud Stompers in play and a Vile Mutilator in hand. So we're set up to... I mean, I still have 10 cards in library, and they seem to not be having the easiest time milling me. For Magic, yeah, the sets this year for Magic have been pretty good. That's for sure. Alright, so they can mill me 3 more. I have a Bear Trap and a Nowhere to Run. So I can just get rid of the crab and then not be milled. Alright, second crab, which they must have just drawn. Alright, I think I have to just get rid of both of the crabs. So yeah, the plan is simple. We know where to run one crab. We bear trap the other crab. Now milling isn't a problem. And we attack with our guys. Do people even like to play against mill decks? I don't know. I mean, the thing is, like, you just have to think of it like burn, right? They're just a burn deck that's trying to deal 40 damage instead of 20. And if you think about it like that, it's not so bad. Also, in this match in particular, I mean, I'm a reanimator deck, so, like, they can mill me, and as long as I don't die to the mill, like, there's a reason I have 2 Shroud Stompers in play. It's because they milled me a bunch. So, I don't know. It's not super bad. It can feel bad, especially if you don't have Graveyard Recursion. Alright, so they are at 2, which means even a Shroud Stomper trigger will kill them. And I have Unwanted Remake, which at this point is effectively Swords to Plowshares. I think they're probably just going to be coming to the conclusion that they can't win. I imagine that's what this pause is. They're looking for outs, and they can't find any. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't do anything, really. I have 5 cards in my library, which means I'm actually not like embarrassingly far from Shroud Stomper triggers killing me, but I'm far enough. In Commander, there is one mill card that's not fun. Are you thinking Mind Skinner or like, I don't know. There are some mill cards that like individual mill cards that aren't fun, but I think the archetype as a whole is fine. Yeah. Mind Skinner is something else though. Like at that point, it's not even like, you know, I'd say you have to think of it like Burn, right? But with Mind Skinner, it's just like creature attacks basically. I don't know. Murder a blocker. And they're dead. Yep. Alright. We got there. Yeah. And this is why Mill can be sketchy, because this set in particular has a lot of graveyard stuff. And if you fill your opponent's graveyard, bad things can happen to you. Like, I did not put creatures into my own graveyard that game. I would have had trouble with it. Alright. While we're waiting for an opponent, if you're enjoying the content, make sure to follow. It helps me a lot. I don't really have much of a spiel. I play Draft sometimes. I play Explorer sometimes. I also play Satisfactory, which is a completely different game sometimes. Alright, so we have 2 lands. And we have a Swamp Cycler. And we have card draw. This is a fine one. So we are just looking for a reanimation spell here. We have the Fanatic to get our big guys into play. Or into the graveyard, rather. Alright. Murder is a good pickup, in case the game doesn't play out quite right, and 2 more swamps. That's a lot of swamps. Not gonna lie, that is too many swamps. So, unfortunately, Shroud Stomper is double white. So that's something to keep in mind. Has been a problem a couple of times with this deck. Alright, there is the second Plains, so we got that going for us. We are going to Fanatic, and so this is better if I need to stop them from doing something. This is better if I'm the one doing something. They're playing black-green. I think I can get away with Shroud Stomper being the thing, and more lands. Alright, I've officially flooded. I have officially flooded here. I just need to draw action. Just no more lands for the rest of the game, and I will be very happy. Alright, they can kill my Fanatic. That's a little scary because obviously it means they get to attack, but it's just one attack. I can hold up Murder for the rest of the game if I want. Doomsday Excruciator. Alright, I found out what I'm going to be doing with all these swamps. Hard casting this is just so bad. It's just so awful to hard cast, because like then you actually just mill yourself. I do have Vial Mutilator in like 2 turns, which isn't the worst. Fine taking 3 to see if they play something scarier. Resurrected Cultist. They don't have Delirium. They're not very close to Delirium. Does that return with haste? No, it does not. I'm going to kill that. because it's a 4-power creature instead of a 3-power creature. Alright, second attic is pretty good. Alright, Spectral Snatcher. I think we hold on to that one. We absolutely do not need swamps. We do not need more reanimation targets. We do need things to actually cast. I'm going to 7, but I can start getting blockers out. This will probably get rid of at least one creature on ETB, so they can have that be the enchantment. But one of these other two guys is going to have to be the creature. And I can just sacrifice one of these guys, which has already done their job. So they can obviously get rid of Nowhere to Run. So this is not going to just wrath them, unless they mess up, which they might. Opponents have punted this before picking incorrectly. Alright, they saw the obvious line. And now we hope a 6/5 flying blocker can get me to live till next turn, when I can Trapped in the Screen something. Alright, keeping the 4-power reach guy makes sense. Alright, they are just going to be drawing some cards, which I think is fine. I don't think they can... I mean, their odds of outvaluing me are low. They don't even have Delirium yet. Alright, so how much mana do I have? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I can Fanatic, pitch the Doomsday Excruciator, and Trapped in Screen them. Oh, Emerge from the Cocoon. That's excellent. So now I can get back a Shroud Stomper. So I just need to not die in the meantime. I think this guy is going to wind up being more annoying, so I will take him. They didn't have a way of getting through last time, but they did draw 2 cards since then. I think I just want to stay on blocks, make sure nothing crazy happens. I'm winning this long game almost certainly. So if they just unlock this and attack, I could trade with a Fanatic and be fine. Otherwise I can Stonewall it with the Mutilator. So this is now allowed to come back. Ouch. That's rough. So this can still trade at least with their 4/2, so I'm not going to be taking 7. Alright, so now the question is, do I emerge the Mutilator again and just Wrath them? I think that's probably the best. So this gets rid of their enchantment. So they can pick this as the enchantment and keep this around, but that's fine. This also gains me 3 life, so it's a bit less dicey in that front. Nope, they messed it up again. They should have chosen the long neck as the enchantment to sacrifice. I guess I'll unlock this room. May as well get a free point of damage in. This card is just so good. Oh no, it died. It traded like 3 for 1. And now we're just going to hope Spectral Snatcher can close. And of course we probably need to draw like 1 more relevant spell this game, if I had to guess. Spectral Snatcher might go the distance, but I think we're probably going to need like another reanimation or something. This is a 2-turn clock starting from now. So they're going to have to do something. Alright, what do you have? You have 3 cards, you have a 4-1, you have Altenac, just coming back, making it 2-2. Alright. I think I'm fine with that. I mean, they were not far off from just actually casting Altenac. So I'll take them ramping a bit and getting a 2-2 over that. Another land. Opponent just floated a green mana for some reason. Okay, what's this? This is a Stick Twister. Right, I think I will attack with both. And they can trade. That's good for me. So they're at 8. Which means they live this next Snatcher attack, even with the Widow's Walk at 1. They can always bring this guy back, which I have to imagine they're going to do soon. So they are going to get a fair amount of 2/2s off of this crypt. And a Death Touch creature, that's a good choice. And their own Snatcher. And I just keep drawing lands. I can't attack. I have to just hold back and defend. And now I am going to need, like I thought, I'm going to need to draw one more relevant spell. I think I can afford to trade here. I can't really afford not to trade. So I would love like a moth thing to just start reanimating stuff. I can probably even reanimate 2 cards this turn if I draw the moth right. Yep. Alright, Shroud Stomper is not the best. It's not the worst. Trapped in this green is quite good. Can get rid of their Death Touch creature. And play out a land. And I hope this is enough. Alright, that is Trample. I do have Death Touch. Alright, so I attack, they have to block with something. And it draws me a card. If I don't attack, I block that. I take 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think I have to attack. And I drew a land, which is terrible. But they're trading off. That is fantastic for me. So now I can play the Loner. It's going to trade off with the Cultist. And we're going to need... Oh, God. Alright, well, it's got to be that, and the... Now I need something spectacular in order to win. And another land! I drew, what, 15 lands in this game? 15! That's more than, like, 9 or 10, which is what I would like to draw. Alright. We had the world's craziest flood. For perspective, our opponent has 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have literally one shy of twice as much lands as them. And we were very close to winning anyway. But yeah, we got... I mean, we still did fine, right? 4 wins is completely reasonable. The deck was Not great. But we got 4 wins anyway. Alright. I am going to switch over to Explorer just to close out the last 20 minutes or so when I'm planning to stream. So now we're playing Is It Phoenix? And this is just such a different vibe. Like I have to adjust a little bit. Alright, they are playing a red aggressive deck. So I hold up interaction. Alright, that is an attack trigger. I will kill their Hired Claw. And they can attack with the Swift Spear. Alright. Play with fire, completely reasonable. I can opt. Phoenix is fine. I think there's a decent chance I get that back at some point in the near future. Alright, so I could Lightning Axe, Sleight of Hand, third thing, and then get my Phoenix back. So that seems, you know, it's not guaranteed to work, but it might. And it did. And I will take an opt, so I continue to have cantrips. And I think I'm going to try beating them down. I'm not sure. Having a blocker might be right. It's an Eidolon. Okay, well. I don't think I play Artist's Talent. I think I just hold up Spell Pierce plus a null. If I had a null available, that would have been great. But as it is, I mean, my Phoenix is pressuring them. Their own Eidolon is pressuring them. This isn't like completely crazy that they lose here. So they're at 8. They have 4 power, and that's effectively 5. Thinking if I can afford to opt or not. I think I can? Okay, absolutely get rid of Artist's Talent. I don't think I can afford to consider. I think that changes the clock. So we are going to just try to race them somehow. So any of these spells that I have need to save me at least 2 damage to be worth it. So they can pump their Hired Claw. Alright, so that Monstrous Rage is going to give them... So they're at 3 now. The Monstrous Rage is going to... So I'm going to be taking 5 down to 3. I think if I Spell Pierce this, I win. I think that saves me 1 life. Or, well, it doesn't save me 1 life, but at least they have to pay 2. So they're not doing anything else. And I die exactly. We were so close. If I had 1 more life, we would have won that. Just take in creature removal, Spell Pierce is bad against them, as we saw, and Null is bad against them. And I think that's it. There's not much sideboarding to be done in this matchup in particular. Opponent is sideboarding. Probably have a more complicated time of it than me. Alright, this hand has no removal. This hand has no lands. Yippee! Alright. I think we throw back the 2 treasure cruises, and we have to shock in the steam vents and sleight of hand. This is awkward. So we're just going to be taking a lot of damage here. Swift Spear. I need to hit land drops in order to win. And we pass. If they play Eidolon, I'm going to hit that. Otherwise, I'm going to hit the Swift Spear. Yep. Eidolon of the Great Revel. Get out of here. So I'm going to take 2 from that, obviously, but it's better than taking a billion. Now I just need to draw both lands and spells simultaneously in order to win. I think I need to find a removal spell here. Like Torch the Tower. Now I missed my land drop, so I don't get to actually use it this turn. But that's fine. Strip Proctor. Why on earth? I don't have ETB triggers, really. And I don't think they do either. That seems like that's just not a card that should be in their deck. Like, it is literally just a 1/3 flyer. Alright, so now I realize the mistake I've made is I've let them untap with their lands for prowess stuff. So there's no guarantee this Torch the Tower will actually kill their Swift Spear. So that's concerning. Alright, they're passing. So my Prankster has managed to... Alright, cool. They've tapped out, so I will kill their Soulscar Mage in response to the prowess trigger. And I'm going to free the Fae again. And grab a Lightning Axe. It says Vigilance, so I may as well attack. I'm still at 10, and I have a blocker and a removal spell available. And Lightning Axe, unlike Torch the Tower, is not really at risk of them prowessing out of it. Yeah, they have to Lightning Helix a blocker, which is fantastic for me because I intend to kill the Swift Spear. Okay, you can die. Toss an Artist's Talent. So another turn that went very well for me. Now I have the time, I guess, to run out the Artist's Talent and the Picklock Prankster, so I still have a blocker up. Screaming Nemesis is a hell of a card. I'm not going to be blocking that. Alright. They had Monstrous Rage. So I still end up dying. Unfortunately, the red aggressive matchup is just miserable with this deck, unfortunately. Like, that's just the truth. You're just never quite quick enough against them. Yep, this is a Phoenix hand. I hope they're playing a creature deck. Howdy, hello. Alright, good news, they're playing a creature deck. Bad news, it's a red deck. Yikes. I don't think I can chalk that in. I think I'm just playing the all-tap land, the good old-fashioned all-tap land mana base against the red deck. Oh, they're goblins. That's in some ways more worrying, in some ways slightly less worrying. Yep. As expected, my voice starts to get sore right around the end of the stream. Hobgoblin Bandit Lord. Yep. That's a card. I've never seen this card in my life, but I'm going to be killing it here. Just keep lords off the table before they start pumping each other. Okay, Stormcarved Coast can enter the battlefield untapped here, which lets me sleight of hand. I will grab a Phoenix. Don't know when or how I'm going to be getting into the graveyard, but at least I have it. And I have 2 removal spells for their 2 creatures. Oh, you can cast goblin spells from the top of your deck? Yeah, alright, that's scary. Alright, so we kill the Lord. And there's another Lord on top. Kill the Snoop, because I didn't realize that that card actually let you cast spells. I thought it was just the ability nonsense. And I'm going to take 3, which is not a huge amount. And play the old Arclight Phoenix, no attacks. So now, can you beat a 3-2 blocker? That is the question you must ask yourself. Opponent, can you beat a 3-2 blocker? The answer is Conspicuous Snoop. +1 Veld Hordemaster. Alright, so this is going to be First Strike, Trample, Haste. Yeah, Legion Loyalist. Pretty good. I will prevent the damage at least. Alright, I will kill another Hordemaster. And I will Treasure Cruise. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I will leave the Phoenix in the bin because I'm hoping this will make it come back. Draw 3 cards. Alright, well, the good news is the Phoenix comes back. The bad news is it's not in a way that I would have liked. Alright, well, they have a land on the top of their deck, at least, for once. Battlecry Goblin was the last card in hand. Of course Battlecry Goblin was the last card in hand. Yeehaw indeed. My opponent goblins me. I think I might have won if I'd killed their first Snoop immediately, but we are absolutely no Spell Pierces or Nulls. I mean, we could Prismari Command, I guess, just to increase the density ever so slightly. And then drop Picklock Prankster, I guess, because it's kind of slow and awkward. Let's try this. The plan here is to shock and shock and shock until there's nothing left to shock. Alright, opponent is sideboarding. So we have a minute to chill and think about our life decisions. They even have a goblin avatar. That's cute. I didn't notice that. Alright. Let's see. No lander. Alright, I guess we have to keep this and just find our cantrips. Treasure Cruise is super slow, unfortunately. And we start finding our cantrips. Alright, well, no removal spells in sight. They have a Legion Loyalist. Alright, we have a Lightning Axe, which is pretty good. So that can get the Phoenix in the bin and kill something scary, which a Legion Loyalist on its own is not. Skirk Prospector is fine. I think I will want to kill whatever they put in off of that instead. I guess I take a land. I need a land. Alright, so I could triple spell here and get a Phoenix into play. I think I'm just going to run out Arclight, Artist's Talent, and hold up Lightning Axe for whatever they get off of their Prospector. So, opponent, what are you going to get off your Prospector? Cavern Goblins, Goblin War Chief. That's scary. I think I will Lightning Axe that. Pitching the Phoenix. And keeping my other two spells because I want to use them to get a Phoenix back next turn. Alright, so we can main phase Sleight of Hand. I think at this point we're pretty likely, yes. Alright, we hit the Fiery Impulse, which is the third spell. We hit the second Fiery Impulse. Did I play land this turn? Yes, I did. Alright, so I'm going to just kill their entire board and get a Phoenix back, and hopefully that is enough. I'm going to filter through the Consider, because I don't need it anymore. Filter through this pathway into a Treasure Cruise, which is fantastic. Phoenix is back. I'm not going to mess around. I'm going to attack. Just maybe hopefully they'll have to focus on defending their own stuff. They can just play a War Chief and attack with it. It's fine. I can Profts and Treasure Cruise. And draw a billion cards. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And 2 lightning axes. No red mana to cast them with, but I have an 8/7, and I'm attacking you, and you are going to die next turn if you do not kill me first or deal with this Arclight Phoenix. And your hyper-aggressive red deck almost certainly can't kill an Arclight Phoenix. Oh, they have Krenko. That's a lot of damage. But I live. And now it's just as simple as Treasure Cruise, get rid of the rest of my graveyard, and swing for lethal. Good game. And we run it back. Yep, this is the advantage of Phoenix, is you can just kill them. Profts is kind of a busted card. Waiting, they appear to be reevaluating their sideboard a little bit, which is fine. Alright, they are on the play, of course, which is very bad for me, but... Alright, we're on the draw. We have 1 land to 2 cantrips. Can't really mulligan these, but it's not super reassuring. Alright, always have the Legion Loyalist on 1. I guess I'll take a Steam Vents, because that can be untapped later. Although, wait, this is other land. So I could have just gone Spire Bluff Canal, Spire Bluff Canal, Spire Bluff Canal, and been fine. Alright, this is not good. I'm failing to hit my removal spells, which means Snoop. Alright, Snoop is bricked. Snoop is bricked, but I don't know how long that's going to last. And they have a War Chief, which means they start doing busted things next turn. This would be a fantastic time for Anger of the Gods to come off the top, which I do have in my deck somewhere. I just haven't seen it. Nope, still no Anger of the Gods. Well, I guess how main phase I consider. Alright, there's the Anger. So, I'm going to play a blocker, and if this blocker can keep me alive this turn, which is a big if to be fair, then I can Anger and sweep them and be good. So there's a Battlecry Goblin that can activate it once, so Prankster is going to be a chump block, but that's fine by me. Yep. And it doesn't matter which one I block. They should have attacked with the Legion Loyalist to push more damage, but I'm not going to complain about that. I'm just going to Anger them. I think I can play a tap land this turn. They only have a tapped Den, the Leyline of the Void. Alright, so we are officially in control of the game. Just need to not let anything slip. 4, 5, 6, 7. Have to hold up Fiery Impulse for the Den. Backup Treasure Cruise is not going to be online for a while, so I think we get rid of it. And we did not draw a second removal spell, which is a little worrying. We do have 2 Flood Maws, which is pretty cool. Alright, that's going to fire up and kill it. And we can easily cycle through a tap land with no problem. now we're looking at Floodmaw or Bust. And we also need... Alright, Prismara Command is a kill spell. Fiery Impulse is a kill spell. Alright, so now we are good to go in terms of just killing everything for the rest of the game. I'm going to level up Artist Talent to make Prismara Command cheaper. They cannot... There's certainly no way of casting Leyline in their deck. Foundry Street Denizen. I think we kill that. Cycle 2. These Floodmaws... Oh, right. That's the Artist Talent trigger. The Floodmaws aren't doing much. Spire Bluff Canal is a tap land, so we can get rid of that. Still no Phoenixes in sight, so I'm going to go looking for them. But I think I need to keep all of these cards. Just continue looking for a Phoenix. Alright. Where on earth... I'm going to make a treasure token and draw 2, discard 2. But where on earth are my Arclight Phoenixes, the card which my deck is named after? Alright, I think we have to pass here, unfortunately. They just drew a land, which is great. I'm going to untap. There's the Phoenix. Alright, Phoenix has been found. Now we just have to cast a bunch of spells. We're almost certain. Yeah, alright, we hit an Opt, and a Consider, and a second Phoenix. Fantastic. That's one spell. This is our second. And we're just keeping 3 Fiery Impulses up at all times. Another Phoenix in the bin. This game closes out extraordinarily quickly from here. Yeah, we can just keep a hand full of removal spells. And start swinging for 9. So they can only draw 1 card. So I'm pretty safe to run out the Picklock Prankster. It could technically go bad, but it's super unlikely. I can't think of what they would have. Yep, they say good game. They play a 1-mana spell and die. Alright. And just like that, rank up. We are Silver 2. Getting there slowly but surely. Alright. We're gonna call that a stream. I think we did quite well on our drafts. We had a 7-1 draft and a 4-3 draft. And then we went like 50% on like the 2 games against red aggressive decks with Phoenix. So yeah, if you happen to be still watching, make sure to follow. It helps me out a lot. And that's that. End of stream.